It started like any other morning, quiet, routine, the kind of day where nothing seems out of place. But then my phone buzzed. A message from Emily. Just having coffee with a friend. First, I didn't think much of it. Coffee with a friend isn't unusual. We had always trusted each other to some degree, or at least I had tried. But something in the phrasing, the casualness, set off a flare of suspicion I couldn't ignore. I stared at the message, replaying the hundreds of little signs I had tried to convince myself were nothing. Late nights, sudden giggles over text, subtle evasions about who she was with. The unease built slowly, like water creeping up around my ankles, until it became impossible to ignore. I took a deep breath and typed back, but not with anger, not with panic. I wanted control. I wanted clarity. Ask him how his wife likes the photos I sent. Immediately, the shift in tone became palpable. She didn't reply for a moment. Then her typing bubble appeared. Hesitant, slow. She tried to craft a response, probably expecting a joke, a flirt, or mild curiosity, but I wasn't giving her that. I had positioned myself differently this time. The tension built in the quiet space between us, each second stretching longer than the last. I wasn't reacting emotionally. I was calculating, watching, waiting. The message wasn't just words. It was a test, a mirror of what had been happening behind the casual phrases and friendly meetups. When she finally replied, there was a pause, a subtle defensiveness hidden in polite words. She tried to laugh it off, to diminish the sharpness of my question, but I could hear it, the crack in her tone, the hesitation. That tiny falter confirmed everything I had suspected. Something wasn't right. I didn't escalate. I didn't accuse. I didn't plead. I simply let the message hang there, a silent weight between us. In that moment, I realized something I hadn't before. Sometimes confrontation doesn't need shouting. Sometimes it only requires clarity, timing, and an undeniable reflection of truth. The rest of the morning passed in a quiet storm of anticipation. Each message she sent, each brief notification, became a small thread I followed, unraveling the pattern I had suspected all along. And by the time the coffee date supposedly ended, I had already decided how the next step would unfold. By mid-morning, I knew I couldn't wait any longer. The subtle hints, the small evasions, the hidden smirks over messages, they all painted a picture I couldn't ignore. I wasn't going to accuse blindly, but I needed her to see that I wasn't oblivious, that the balance had shifted, and that her casual games would no longer be tolerated. Emily returned a few hours later, expecting the usual ease, the way she could glide back into our home without consequence. But I wasn't the man who would overlook the patterns anymore. I was calm, composed, deliberate, the eye of a storm she had never fully understood. "Hey," she said casually, as if nothing had happened. Coffee was nice. Just a small catch-up with James. I didn't smile. I didn't greet her in return. I simply held my phone out, the screen displaying her messages in plain sight, the subtle but unmistakable undertone she had thought went unnoticed. "So, how did he answer about the photos?" I asked quietly, almost conversationally. Her face shifted, the casual confidence faltering for the first time that morning. What do you mean?" she stammered, her tone faltering. I leaned slightly closer, keeping my voice steady, low and even. "The photos. The ones you sent last week. You asked him, didn't you? About his wife. How she liked them." Her eyes widened, a brief flash of panic crossing her features. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. That small pause, that hesitation, confirmed every suspicion I had harbored for weeks. The casual coffee wasn't casual at all. The innocent messages weren't innocent at all. "You think I wouldn't notice?" I asked softly, letting the weight of the question hang between us. "You think I wouldn't follow the pattern, see the subtle moves, and understand the full picture?" Emily's hands trembled slightly, and for the first time I saw fear. She had always counted on my patience, my willingness to believe in her words over the signs. But patience has limits, and belief can only stretch so far before reality demands confrontation. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse beyond what was necessary. I let the silence fill the room, letting her imagination collide with the truth she had tried so carefully to hide. And in that silence I could see it, the recognition in her eyes, the realization that I wasn't the man who would look away anymore. The tension in the room was thick, almost tangible. Emily shifted uncomfortably, glancing at the phone in my hand, then at me, then back again. Her confidence from the morning coffee had completely dissolved, replaced by a mixture of guilt and fear. I didn't need to say more. The question, the subtle framing, and the calm weight of my presence were enough to make her realize the consequences of her actions. Every laugh she had shared over text, every casual smile during our recent conversations, every little attempt to hide the truth, it all culminated in this moment. "Emily," I said, my voice steady, deliberate, carrying an authority she had not heard from me in weeks. "I am done ignoring the patterns, the games, the half-truths. I won't be part of any of it anymore." Her lips parted, trying to form an excuse, a denial, a justification, but I didn't give her the chance. I let the silence do the work. She couldn't lie in that moment. She couldn't hide behind charm, laughter, or distraction. The truth was right there, undeniable, reflected in the very question I had asked. She sank into the couch, head in her hands, finally admitting without words what she had tried so hard to keep hidden. I didn't think you'd notice," she whispered, almost to herself. I shook my head slowly. "Notice? I've been noticing all along. The coffee, the texts, the subtle flirting, the little ways you thought you could keep me from seeing. But I see it now clearly. And you need to understand that actions have consequences." Her face lifted slightly, eyes red, her bravado completely gone. "David." No, Emily," I interrupted softly but firmly. "This isn't about anger. This isn't about punishment. It's about clarity. About boundaries. About respect. And right now you've crossed every line." I placed my phone gently on the table, showing her the messages once more, letting her face the evidence of her actions without interruption. The realization hit her fully, and for the first time I saw her truly afraid. Not of me, but of the truth she could no longer deny. The room was quiet except for the distant hum of city sounds outside. For me, the tension lifted slightly, replaced by a sense of control and resolution. I had confronted the betrayal, established the boundary, and allowed the truth to speak louder than any argument or accusation ever could. Emily would remember this moment, the clarity, the exposure, the undeniable consequence of her choices. And for me that day marked a turning point. No more games, no more hidden agendas, no more casual betrayals. From this point forward, honesty, transparency, and respect would define what I allowed in my life, and I would not compromise again.